Tennessee Titans left tackle Dan Moore has struggled to start the year, but he had his best game by far in Week 3 against the Colts, and I'm going to show you what I saw on tape in today's film breakdown from Tic Tac Titans. Titans fans, welcome into another film breakdown from Tic Tac Titans, your home for Tennessee Titans X's and O's. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, 25 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic. I've covered the team for Sports Illustrated, USA Today, and I'm a certified film junkie who's hosted the #1 Tennessee Titans podcast, Locked on Titans, for 7 seasons. In today's film breakdown, we're going to take a look at the performance of Titans high-priced left tackle Dan Moore. Moore struggled in his first 2 weeks, but had an excellent game against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts are the worst pass rush the Titans have faced so far, but I think it's an encouraging sign for Dan Moore going forward throughout the season. And boy, do the Titans need this version of Dan Moore to show up more often. We're going to look at Dan Moore in pass protection, where he displayed good balance and good feet. And then we're going to take a look at some plays in run defense in the screen game, where Dan Moore was able to hold down his assignment as well. Now, before we dive in, do want to remind you, if you want year-round, free Tennessee Titans film content, make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. The Tic Tac Titans film channel pairs perfectly with the discussions that we have over on the Locked on Titans podcast. Make sure you throw a thumbs up on the video, throw a Titan up down in the chat. And with that being said, as we always do, let's step into the film room. Play number 1 from Dan Moore right here. What you're going to see is the Colts are going to drop this defender back, and you're going to see a little bit of a slant from the defensive line. Peter Skoronski is going to pass this off to Dan Moore, and Dan Moore is there, and he's waiting, and it's a really great rep. Look at that. Good base, good wide base, locking out the arms, keep an extension, keep the defender off your body. Excellent rep from the Tennessee Titans left tackle. Turns into a big play as well. Great job by Dan Moore. On this one, we're just going to have one-on-one pass rush rep. Dan Moore against Samson Ebukam, and man, he had Ebukam in jail all day long. One-on-one. Good slide. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Just destroyed. Just 0% chance. Good set. Hands in. Goes back on the wide base. Good balance. Completely locked out. Not a chance you're getting through him there. Another good one-on-one win here from Dan Moore. One-on-one rush against Ebukam. Takes him on. Beats him once again. Really clean. Not as clean as the previous one with the hands. Look at the hands. Had to readjust, but that's a big win. And this is what the Titans need going forward from Dan Moore at left tackle. He has to be worth that contract. Boom. Hands on him. Good patience. Good base, good balance, resets there. Look, gets a little off balance, but boom, drives those feet into the ground, reestablishes his base, holds him off. It's good stuff. Here's a rep against a better pass rusher. This is Kwity Paye, a former first-round pick there on the left side. This isn't as clean of a win for Dan Moore as the previous ones that we've seen, but nonetheless, this is a win. They don't have to be pretty. The Titans don't need pretty wins from Dan Moore. They just need wins. And right here, look. His hands are a little high. He's a little high. His feet are off the ground. Doesn't look like it's going to be a good spot, but he recovers well. And Dan Moore, I always said, even after they signed him, and I did my film breakdown, even while being skeptical about the signing, I said, hey, Dan Moore has good feet. His hands aren't great. He lacks power in his hands, but he has good, quick feet. And look how he kick slides, gets back in, gets the hand reattached right there. Not great right away. Get that hand back inside to the shoulder pad, control leverage, get your hips down, feet back on the ground. This is a really nice recovery from Dan Moore and a win on the play, and it gives Cam Ward enough time to make this insane throw to Alec Iomanner. This is a really nice rep from Dan Moore. He's able to help inside with Peter Skoronski, still establish leverage on his guy, anchor down, and prevent him getting to the backfield. So you have Dan Moore right here again at left tackle. He's going to help Peter Skoronski right here with the inside rush and then get to his man and lock him down. This is a really impressive rep. Helps with the inside, gets to his man, anchors down. Let's go back and look at that again. All right. Right off the snap, help inside. Push him over to Peter Skoronski. Okay? And Pete is the best guard in the NFL right now. So push him over. Now I'm watching my man, and I'm coming at him. And look how he's not in a great posture right now. This isn't great, but he's going to kick his feet back and get in good position and drop his anchor down. Boom, right there. Now he's anchored in. Now he's back in control. Great feet. Dan Moore has really good feet. Again, it's the hands, the lack of power in the hands that can get him beat to his edges. But really quick feet from Dan Moore, good athleticism, and by the end of the rep, got him completely stood up, under control. Really nice stuff from Dan Moore there. Another textbook win for Dan Moore right here in a one-on-one pass rush situation. Can't really ask for much more. Hands on him. Good base. Good balance. Really good rep right here from Dan Moore. Gets on him first, and now he's locked out. He's got him locked out. He's in total control right here. No threat whatsoever. And look at that pocket for Cam Ward. Excellent, excellent, excellent rep from Dan Moore. And now we get to talk about Dan Moore being a little more physical in the run game, in the screen game. All right, now we're into the run game and the screen game here, and this is a really nice combo block from Dan Moore. The Titans are going to run their number one run play. This is the number one run play that the Tennessee Titans have run this year, dating back to the preseason. It's just a little bit of power, okay? A little power play. You're going to have a double team right here with Dan Moore and Peter Skoronski on the defensive tackle, and then Dan Moore is going to climb up to the linebacker. For it to be the power play, you're going to have the guard here, Blake Hance, pulling around right here. All right, but this isn't perfect from Dan Moore, but this is a good rep and a good example of what the Titans' number one run play looks like. So you have the double team, bam, one with Peter Skoronski. Dan Moore gets good push right here, too, to open up this lane, and then you get the kick out from the pulling guard, and then what that's going to do is open up the avenue where Tony Pollard's going to come. Now, Dan Moore climbs up to the second level, gets in front of the linebacker. That's a pretty good job. Now, you would like to see him sustain his block and drive his block at the second level. It's 48, not 44, that he gets up to. Look at Chigakonkwo. I know this isn't that kind of film breakdown, but, man, can we get some more Gunnar Helm? Like, Chig is so god-awful at blocking. I don't understand how they continue to leave him in to do this stuff. This could be a big play if not for Chig blowing his block right here. But Dan Moore, look how he crushes DeForest Buckner, who's a great player, over, gets up to number 48, okay? And you would like to see him sustain this a little bit longer and drive him back, but nonetheless, he clears out a huge hole, and this is a really nice run play for the Titans that gains 9 yards. So a great job there by Dan Moore, combo block, get to the second level, nice stuff right there. I compared Dan Moore's play style when he was signed as a free agent to Taylor Lewan. He's not an overly physical offensive lineman, but he's got good size, he's got good feet, he can win with his body positioning, and that's especially useful on zone blocks, especially front side kickouts or backside kickouts, where Dan Moore just has to get in front of Tyquan Lewis right here. Like, you don't got to drive him. You don't got to drive him 3-4 yards down the field. You don't got to pancake him. You just got to make sure that you don't let your assignment disrupt the run play. It's not a super difficult block to execute, but at the same time, it's a very important block. Look at that. You're just not getting through me. You're just not getting through me. Again, not super difficult, but we've seen Tennessee Titans offensive tackles not execute this. So nice little outside kick out. This is another front side kick out on a zone run. This time it's coming right at Dan Moore. It's a little bit more of a mid zone than the inside zone we saw from the last play. But this is one-on-one, and again, you don't got to drive him out. Yeah, that would be great. Sure, if you're Penei Sewell, Lane Johnson, one of these excellent right tackles that can just drive people off the ball, then great. But in this scenario, like we saw with Taylor Lewan during the Titans zone run phase with Derrick Henry and Arthur Smith, you don't have to absolutely maul people here. You just got to win with body positioning and make sure your guy doesn't make the play. It's a really good front side kick out. Not a great run play, but an individual rep from Dan Moore. This is a really good job. Does drive him a little bit too. All right, so our final play is Dan Moore in the screen game, and I've been saying it throughout the video. Dan Moore has good feet. He's not a terrible athlete, okay? And we see him out in space here where he did struggle in space on his tape in Pittsburgh, like getting up to the second level and things like that, but does a really, really good job here. Now, the Titans' offense is an absolute mess, so this play gets called back, but this is a wide receiver screen where Van Jefferson should already be out here, okay? And then he's going to come inside to get the screen, and everybody's going to be out blocking. And what we're going to see is Dan Moore is going to get out here on the perimeter, and he's going to take out two dudes and absolutely wash a Colts defender on his way as well. Cam Ward trying to tell the veteran receiver to get out there, and he doesn't do it quick enough. But watch Dan Moore, number 75, right here. Watch this rep from him. Boom! Get out! Look at Dan Moore celebrating too. He knew. This is a great play. And also, let me say, this is a good check by Cam Ward. The Colts, let's talk a little Titans offense right here while we have time. The Colts are backed off. But after they collapse down and show a pressure look at Cam. Look at Cam. Changing the play. Hey, we're ready for this. And look at Chim DK telling the rookie wide receiver, telling the veteran wide receiver, bro, he's checking the play. Get out there. He moves Tony Pollard, which is what's supposed to happen. Look how locked in Cam is. Look, he's telling him, get out there, Van, get out. And Ridley's like, what are you doing? Chim DK's like, what are you doing? Move. Van Jefferson does it way too late. They don't have time to snap it. And he didn't get set in time. It's a legal procedure. Play doesn't count. So just a little quick detour for us to see why the Titans offense is a mess. These guys don't know what they're doing, and it's the veteran players often who don't know what they're doing the most. Okay? It's unbelievable to me. This should have been a great play if Van Jefferson knows what the hell he's supposed to do. But regardless, we're talking Dan Moore, and just look at him. Bulldoze. Boom. And then celebrate. Should have been a big play. Great job by Cam Ward. Great job by Dan Moore. Great job by most people in the offense. But a veteran player who the play is designed for doesn't know what they're doing. Titans fans, I hope you enjoyed that film breakdown on Dan Moore's performance in Week 3 against the Indianapolis Colts. Again, we saw it in pass protection, we saw it in run defense, and run offense, run blocking, and that's why Dan Moore was the highest graded offensive player for the Titans per Pro Football Focus in Week 3. The data, the numbers all match up to the tape, and again, the Titans need more of this Dan Moore, not less. But with all the corny pun jokes out of the way, do want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure you get subscribed, stay subscribed for year-round free Tennessee Titans film content. Throw a thumbs up on the video. Throw a tighten up in the chat. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and as I tell you every video, tighten up.